At the beginning of the movie, some people were falling from the sky like ants. When people fell down, they would be torn to pieces. Those who somehow managed to survive this accident, we saw that all of them were soldiers. That is, they had come on some mission. The main actor of the movie was named Dan Forrester, who had fallen down along with them. He was very scared. He heard the voice of a fierce creature above him. Therefore, when Dan looked up, this scene cut right here. Then we see a scene from 28 years ago, where Dan was exactly the same age as we saw at the beginning of the movie. But that accident was going to happen 28 years later. So how is it possible that Dan was the same 28 years ago? We will find out the secret of this later. A Christmas party was going on at Dan's house, and at the same time, they were also watching the Football World Cup. Dan gets a call from a new company, the company where Dan had gone for an interview. Dan thought, I have been selected. That is why they have called me. But the matter was something else entirely. Dan's own daughter was talking on the phone, who says, I am 35 years old. For one thing, Dan was not getting any job, and on top of that, someone was playing a prank on him. Therefore, Dan got very angry and came straight home to sit between his wife Emma and his daughter Muri. But that matter started bothering him. What if that phone call was true? What if she really was my daughter? Because she had told Dan that the people at the old company fired him because of his habit of telling the truth. Dan had not told this even to his wife Emma yet. So how did she know? Anyway, now the three of them are enjoying the football match when they see that suddenly a very large light has appeared on the ground and the match has stopped. Some commandos came out from inside the light, whose leader was Lieutenant Hart. The world had never seen such a strange sight before. Everyone was watching it live. As soon as Lieutenant Hart arrived, she said, We are your children. We have come from the year 2050. Yes, we have made a time machine, and we have come here to ask for your help. Exactly 1400 years after 2022, a war of ours will begin. But all of us, the whole world, are on one side. And our enemy is not a human, but alien creatures beyond imagination. Their ship was right here somewhere inside the world, hidden for 200 years. But in 2049, that ship suddenly comes out, and within just 1 year, it has wiped out a population of 7 billion. We think that ship is invisible. That is, it cannot be seen by anyone. Therefore, we can neither see nor hear that ship, nor can we estimate where that ship is. We have no choice but to fight them. In 2050, only 50 million of us are left in the whole world. We need all of you very much, your army as well as all you young people. If you do not help, no one will even know who humans were. Therefore, help us. After saying this much, Lieutenant Hart says, we can travel in time only once. That is, we have chosen 2022 from 2050 only once and traveled in time. But here we will build such a base through which you will be able to travel in time between 2022 and 2050, whenever you want. Saying this, the scene cut, and we saw that the government did exactly that. They started sending 10,000 soldiers every week through the time machine. But despite sending soldiers continuously for 1 year, the human population of the world in 2051 was only 800,000. Therefore, now they started sending ordinary people from 2023 who are healthy, so that the more help they can provide in 2051, the better. But even once in a whole year, no news was received from 2051 that humans were winning. Anyway, here we see Dan, who is now a school teacher. He tells the children, we can help humanity in ways other than fighting, and we will do that by being educated. But there was no one among them who was interested in studying now. The children were constantly saying, what is the use of this study after all? In the end, we all are going to be finished and erased, right? On which Dan, even if he wanted to, could not prove their point wrong. In the meantime, a message comes on Dan's phone from the army, which was not a good sign in any way. Now it was written in the message that you have to come to the army base, after which Dan does the same. The army people make Dan sit in a place, and by putting his arm in a machine, they find out his future, in which the army found out that Dan would anyway be killed in a car accident in the next 5 years. Therefore, the army doctor said, you have only 24 hours. Finish all your work and report to us after 1 day. She does not tell Dan that you have only 5 years left to live. Anyway, after this, they put a ban on Dan, which meant that Dan was also going to be sent for the war in 2051. On the other side, we saw Emma, who was giving mental treatment to those people who went to 2051 and came back after escaping from the aliens. But neither was their body completely safe, nor was their mental health safe. Therefore, Emma started feeling very scared that Dan might also be called. But her fear proved absolutely right, and the mountain fell on Her when Dan told her, "I will be sent to the future tomorrow." Hearing this, Emma started crying and started telling Dan, "Please ask your dad for some help. He will definitely remove this band." But Dan was very angry with his dad. But Emma said, "Ask your dad for help, if not for yourself. Then at least for me and Muri, he will definitely find some solution." Immediately after which, Dan comes to his dad's warehouse, where his dad was about to remove that band. But don't know why, Dan started asking him questions about his mother and said, "Why did you leave mother after all?" At which Dan's father got very angry and threw water on Dan and said, "Son, I can give you as many explanations as I want. But when I returned from the Vietnam War, your mother had already married another man. But you will not believe it because you are my son. Therefore you will not listen to even one thing of mine. And I am also not going to give you any explanations." After this, the scene cut and Dan came straight to his wife. But Dan's band was still present on his arm. Seeing this, Emma hugged him. Immediately after which, Dan comes to his daughter and started telling her, "You just have to never forget these two things. First thing, that daughter, you must never leave your mother alone. And second thing, that I was never wrong." After which the scene shifted to the army base and we saw that everyone is being prepared and everyone was given painkillers. Everyone's clothes were made identical. We saw that Lieutenant Hart gave them all a warning and said, "Whatever you have learned will be of no use there. Neither crawling, nor stamina, nor running, nor your strength. The creatures will finish you off in the blink of an eye. Therefore, everyone stay alert. You all will be automatically called back after 1 week, only if you are alive." Hearing this much, everyone reached to sleep, where Dan met a fat man named Charlie. He says, "I need your help. I am going to run away from here." Dan said, "If you had to run away, why did you come here at all?" Anyway, their conversation was going on. But just then, an alert alarm started ringing there, in which it was told that all of you are being sent to 2051. Immediately after this, Lieutenant Hart came there. She told Dan, "You will be the leader of all of them. Aliens have attacked the New York research lab. If that is destroyed, we will lose everything we have understood about aliens until today. Therefore, you all will have to hurry." After this, they all stood in an open ground and were sent to 2051 through the time machine. And then we see that scene, which was seen at the beginning of the movie where due to a fault in the time machine, all of them are left at a height of 1,600 feet from the ground. And everyone started getting killed while falling down. But Dan fell into a swimming pool, due to which he survives. Out of those hundreds of people, only a handful of soldiers were able to succeed in surviving. After which they all saw that the aliens have devastated the city. Seeing this, they all were very terrified. But just then, everyone got a message from the general on the radio, which Dan picked up. Dan said, "My name is Dan Forrester." The general says, "You have been a soldier. Therefore, I am not going to hide anything from you. The name of the aliens is White Spikes. The spikes have captured the entire city. But in the research lab near you, you will find a map and some test tubes, which you will bring to us. Exactly 3 hours from now, this whole city will be blown up with bombs. Therefore, you will have to get out of there in time. Remember, bring the map definitely." Immediately after which, all those people set out on their mission. On the way, being scared, they somehow kept moving forward. They get to see human corpses in places, which increased their fear even more. Along with this fear, they reach the research lab building, where they see the sharp spikes of the aliens. But now those people have come into the lab, where they were collecting the test tubes along with the map. After collecting, Dan and his team started coming out from there. When they reached the stairs to go down, Dan ordered everyone to stop and said, "No one will make any noise, and keep walking down quietly." But soon, Dan realized that the spikes are right above them. When Dan threw light up to see this, there we see the face of a spike for the first time, which was very scary, seeing which a soldier started screaming out of fear. So the spike killed him with its sharp spike. Seeing this, Dan ordered firing, and everyone starts firing at the spikes. But the bullets were having no effect on the spike and it started killing all their soldiers one by one. It called others like itself too. Dan and his team fought them bravely, but it was of no use. When they came into the corridor, the spike broke the door there too and came inside. Dan stayed back and started firing at both of them. But one of them comes very close to Dan, and Dan's magazine was also about to finish. Therefore, Dan took an axe and hit it under its mouth. But that spike, even with so much pain, was about to kill Dan before it could take its next step. A trained soldier came from behind and killed it by firing at its stomach. That soldier's name was Karen. She said, "Attack their neck and stomach. This is their weak point." Outside the building, the Spikes had called more of their companions, who were now going to chew up Dan's team raw. And now only 5 minutes were left for the bombing. Therefore, the general sends bulletproof vehicles to help all of them, which had come to take them away. Seeing those cars, Dan's team was very happy. But the Spikes wiped out all 3 cars in a single stroke and started eating the soldiers sitting in them raw. Seeing this, Dan started firing at all of them, due to which the Spikes' attention turned towards them. They were coming to kill Dan's team from all sides. But they all fired a lot of bullets at the Spikes, and while fighting, they came under a bridge, where half the members of their team were still present above, and they are killed one by one. Therefore, Dan told the others to save their lives, on which a fat man and a woman started telling them, "You go, we will stay and deal with them." Now Dan, even without wanting to, runs away from there, and the army drops the bomb there. The army had rescued Dan and his remaining team. Therefore, Dan's eye now opened in a hospital. When he came out, he found out that this is not a hospital, but this is an army base. There he also met Charlie. They both came to Kevin. Kevin said, "I have cancer and you all were also going to die in the coming time. Therefore, the army chose you and sent you here." At which Charlie got very scared, and Dan, giving him courage, said, "It is good, right? We will die while killing these." Immediately after this, Dan came to the general, who tells Dan, "How are you, Papa?" Friends, here, Dan understood everything, that the phone call he had received was absolutely real. It was made by his daughter. They both wanted to talk a lot to each other. But Dan felt that his daughter Muri is hiding something from him. But there was no time for all these talks. Therefore, all those people were getting ready to go on a new mission. Their mission was to catch the mother of the Spikes and make an antidote from her blood. The antidote which they will use against the Spikes by filling it in bullets and kill the Spikes. Therefore, they come into her den to catch the mother Spike. At first, that female Spike was very angry, but then the soldiers gained control over her, due to which the female Spike started calling her children. Seeing this, Dan also came down to help all of them, and together with everyone, he finally imprisoned the female Spike. As soon as they started taking the female Spike to their base through a helicopter, all the Spikes came there and pounced on their helicopter. But fortunately, the helicopter under which the female Spike was, that helicopter survives. But now Dan and Muri are below, who started running by sitting in a car to escape from the Spikes. But the Spikes started attacking them from behind. But Muri blew the Spikes to pieces with a machine gun, and escaping from them, they came to a beach, where Muri was quite angry with her dad. Dan asked the reason for anger, on which Muri said, "You always fought for the truth. One day you filed a case against some rich people to expose their lies. I and Mom stopped you a lot, but you were obsessed with the ghost of truth, due to which those rich people caused your car accident, which leads to your death. Neither did you get anything, nor did we. Therefore I am very angry with you." Hearing this, Dan remembered the things said by his father. His father had also told Dan exactly this. "You are exactly like me and you will not listen to even one thing of mine." Dan realized that my daughter is also just like me. No matter how many explanations I give, she will not listen to one thing of mine. Although at that time Dan's father was absolutely right, and now Dan was also absolutely right. But Dan felt that he should have spent time with his family only. Anyway, what's the use now? Dan was anyway going to die in the next 5 years. Immediately after this, they brought the female Spike to the main base of the army, which was built in the middle of the sea.
This is the most safe base until now, where now the general herself starts testing on the blood sample of the female Spike. But she was constantly getting failure. In this way, that night passes and the female Spike was also now coming to consciousness. As soon as she came to full consciousness, she started calling all the Spikes to the army base, who, in the blink of an eye, started devastating the base considered the safest until now. Here, fortunately, Murray succeeded in making an antivirus. Now only this has to be made in large quantities so that it can be filled in as many bullets as possible, and these Spikes can be killed. But looking at the situation, it did not seem that they would be able to do even a bit of production of this antivirus. Moreover, only 2 minutes were left for Dawn to go back. Murray had also been quite injured by Spike. They had captured the whole base. They keep destroying everything. Murray was also quite injured. Therefore, Dawn brought Murray to a separate place where Murray said, "Now just as I will seem wrong to you when I say that, you go back to your world leaving me right here and take this antidote with you, and upon returning, kill all these Spikes," Dawn says. "It won't be like this," Murray said. "A truthful man seems bitter and bad to the world. Your father i.e., my grandfather, did not tell you the truth. Therefore, you kept considering him bad. You kept fighting for the truth. Therefore, I and Mom kept considering you bad. Now I am sacrificing for the good. So, you are considering me bad. In the middle of their talk, the female Spike arrives there. Before she could attack them, that bridge started breaking, due to which the female Spike, while falling, also caught Murray. But Dawn had held Murray tightly, and he was not letting Murray go. But Murray herself let go of her hand, due to which she fell among the spikes, and poor Dawn came back to 2023. Lieutenant Hart came and woke him up. After waking up, Dawn said, "Make this antidote in large quantities and send it to 2051 by filling it in bullets, quickly." But here Lieutenant Hart tells a very big and very bad news. She said, all humans were killed in 2051. The time machine there has also been destroyed along with that base. Therefore, now there is no use and we have lost. When the aliens come here, their DNA will be quite different from this, and this antidote will not work on them because any antidote cannot be stored for 10 years. Therefore, when the alien ship will return to our planet after 8 years, we will have nothing to fight them, and our condition will be the same as happened to people in 2051. Hearing this, Don started waiting for his death, and upon coming to his home, he met Murray and told Emma everything about her, along with the sorrow. That day also passes, but one day while teaching, Don called Charlie and Kevin and said, "I think that the aliens are present somewhere in Russia.
And their ship will not come out from space but from inside the ground. 8 years from now, the ice of Russia will melt because global warming is increasing a lot. Therefore, they will come out from the ground itself after 8 years. Just immediately after this, they went to the president's manager and said, "We will have to send the army to Russia." But the manager said, if the spaceship was in the ground itself, then why didn't people find out about it till now? Now the answer to this thing was not with Dan at that time, but you will definitely find out later. Anyway, the manager refused to help them. So Dan comes straight to his dad and asks for forgiveness from his dad. Dan's father immediately forgave him and decided to help Dan. Dan had also called Lieutenant Hart, who, giving the bullets filled with antidote to Dan, said, "Let's kill those merciless ones by becoming merciless." Now, after everything was ready, they set out towards Russia where that ship was hidden. After landing on the ice of Russia, those people set out on their snowbikes to find that alien ship. After searching a lot, they saw a disturbance in their compasses at one place. They found out that the alien spaceship could be right under them. Therefore, they all made a very big blast there, due to which they now started seeing that spaceship below, and as soon as they go down, they enter the spaceship. When they came inside the spaceship, there they saw Spike sleeping in cryosleep, and they also saw a time machine, from which they all understood that these are aliens who have come from the alien future, and it is possible that they came when humans did not have any kind of technology. That is, it is possible that they came 2,000 years ago from today. Therefore, no one noticed them. Anyway, without wasting time, they started killing everyone there. But due to the noise, some Spikes woke up and pounced on all of them. Kevin said to Dan, "I have planted C4, i.e. bombs, in the whole ship. Anyway, I am going to die of cancer. Why not die after killing these oppressors?" Immediately after this, Dan, Charlie, and Dan's father came out of the ship, while Lieutenant Hart and Kevin were inside. Lieutenant Hart told Kevin to blast, and as soon as Kevin pressed the button, that whole spaceship blasted. Those three were just taking a sigh of relief that in the meantime, the female Spike survives, seeing which Dan's father immediately started firing at her. But don't know why, the bullets were having no effect on her. She started moving towards Dan's father, but in time, Dan threw her far away by hitting her with the car. Now the poisonous bullets were having an effect on her, but she was still quite powerful. Therefore, there was still a lot of time until the full effect of the poison. But in that much time, that female Spike will chew them raw. Therefore, Dan's father started calling her towards himself so that he would fall straight down, taking her, and by the time they come back up, the poison will have done its work. Therefore, the female Spike started coming towards Dan's father. But Dan, jumping on her, cut her throat itself, due to which that oppressor is killed after suffering. After so much happening, those three now take a breath of rest, and everyone was told that the aliens' ship has been completely destroyed. Immediately after this, Dan came to his home, where his father was also with him, seeing whom Emma and Murray were very happy. With this happy ending, this wonderful movie ends here.